Alright, this is definitely more what I was looking to do. But the 1200 is kind of a little bit too tall. Well, you're not seeing it the same way I do, but yeah. So I think maybe 1200s to go somewhere else. But then I really, it looks empty when there's nothing sitting right there. Yeah, if I didn't have things stacked, then like that other icon would probably be right next to the other icon. And what's interesting is the face of the 756 is kind of a really dark black gray, and then this one here, and you can't really see it in the light here, but it's definitely silver, and it doesn't match when you look at it real closely. But they never made a power supply that was the same color as the 746. This is the power supply that you would get, and I've yet to find a reasonably priced matching speaker for either one, so I don't have one. Yeah, I don't know. It's 3000. This is kind of big, or 1200. I don't know why I keep calling it 3000. When I saw this thing at the Hamfest, I thought it was a 3000. I think that's why I just keep saying that. And I seen it and I walked by it. It was like, oh, it's a 3000. The only real difference between the 1200 and the 3000 is there's another receiver, I think, in it. And here, instead of this, there's a digital display for the other VFO. And I think that this doesn't truly have an A and B VFO, where like this one you can toggle between A and B, I think. So if I'm on this frequency here, I can just go over to my other VFO and just start using it. This one doesn't do that. This one, A and B, is only for split. This one here, you could operate, and this green will tell you like what color for the VFO. And then when you enable split, it'll change. That's whatever, and I don't know. So, but not all Yaesus have A and B. I don't have power to this, so I can't show you guys, but I think the 450D has A and B. So basically 1200, the 991, 991A, the 891, I think they all have just basically one VFO for A, and B is your split mode, so they don't really offer that true A and B VFO experience. The ICOM is kind of weird. It has dual watch, and it has more than one receiver, and so you use the balance. If you put on a pair of headphones and you adjust the balance, you can listen to one frequency and the other. It's not meant to be used on different bands. Its idea is, like, basically you could listen on the input and output frequencies if like you're working split or something like that, or you could just listen to another conversation further up the band. You can make it listen on 40 while you're on 80. It's going through the front end of the 80, so 40 would be really hard to hear. But with this one, you're dual watch, and once you're in dual watch, then you can hear both of them at the same time, and the balance lets you balance them. You can kind of hear it change. I don't have hooked to an antenna. And then there's no A and B. Really, there's just VFO here and VFO here. It doesn't have a label. It's like, they call it the main and the sub. You push this and you go down to the sub VFO. And then you can adjust it to whatever you want, and you can change, like, the band. We're gonna have to set this up again because we gotta have to try and get the Clipperton guys again, because he didn't have my prefix correct, and so I'm probably not in the log correctly. That's okay. Even if I don't get a good call, I'm not paying for a QSL card, so, you know, the idea that, like, I know I made contact with him. I mean, you know, it's probably not anything like it would be confirmed on QRZ. It doesn't really matter. I know I made contact with him, so that's the cool part. I'm not trying to get an award, so it doesn't matter. This color here looks a little strange. I noticed that. I'm wondering if the display's going out. Let's see, just turn up dual watch. Anyway, these radios all do different things. So, really do like the ICOM, and because, you know, it's simple, direct entry, stuff like that on the keypad. Same thing with the 1200, but the 1200 doesn't really have the capability that the ICOM has. 1200 is a pretty good sounding radio and transmit, and the receiver's pretty good. So it's not a bad radio at all. The 710 is a great radio. There's just a lot of stuff, like, I just wish that, like, you know, I had what's on, like, the 1200, you know, I need a keypad, you know, less menus and more buttons. So, ideally, I think 710 is a really great radio to have, and it's really hard to beat for the price. You're getting a lot of value, and, you know, it's like number 3 on the Sherwood list. So, not all of us can afford, you know, a new 101, an FTDX 101. So, you know, this is a really, really good alternative to that. And, you know, who knows, it might even actually work better than the 101, because the 101 is actually older. So, I actually didn't really like the display on the 101. I thought it was kind of grainy and, you know, poor resolution, but it was definitely a fun radio to operate at ham radio outlet. So anyway, I think this is more what I'm moving towards. I honestly, like, might just get rid of everything and just have all these solid state, modern, fancy radios, you know, just on the bench here, and, you know, operate a little bit more and fiddle a little bit less.